If you've ever seen our mobile mammography health coach going down the highway, you know it's a big, big machine. And if you've ever thought about having that coach come to your office or your church or community center, then this is the woman that you need to know. Candice Saxton is with us today to talk about all the ins and outs of having a mobile program and having a mobile coach come to take care of the women you care about. When you subscribe to our show, you help us grow. Someone you know may need to hear this story, so please share with your family and friends and consider supporting our mission at therose.org. Let's talk about your breast. A different kind of podcast presented to you by The Rose, a breast center of excellence and a Texas treasure. You're going to hear frank discussions about tough topics, and you're going to learn why knowing about your breast could save your life. Candice, thank you so much for being with us today. We are excited to learn about the mobile program, but I want you to tell us a little something about your background. Now, you don't live in Houston. You don't work here at The Rose. I mean, you're our employee, but you don't office here. So give us some background on that.
Well, I was born and raised in Brazoria County. I have very deep roots there. And my family owned a small grocery store in that area. It was something my grandparents started. It was there for 69 years.
Wow.
And they sold in 2015. But that's just kind of where my home base has always been.
So you know that community well.
Yes, ma'am.
And how did you find out about us?
It was kind of a series of events, really. I was in a position, I was working for a company called Help Incorporated in Brazoria County, and there was a lunch and learn. There was a community engagement navigator from the Rose that came into town to do a lunch and learn. And I had heard of the Rose, and I went to that to learn more. Just because of the position I was in at that time, it kind of made sense for me to be there, and that was really my first introduction to the Rose.
And so when we found a grant that was covering people outside of this county, then if I'm remembering right, I think you were our first one to actually have a grant wrapped around it for a salary. We were so excited we actually got salary coverage, so.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. It was a pilot program, and when I came on, the initiative was just to focus on Brazoria County and try to build the mobile program and the Empower Her program in that area.
So I'm going to have you go back and talk a little bit about Empower Her and what that means. But after you came on board, do you remember the success rate that we had? Because I had to report on it, so I'm just wondering if you remember it.
I don't.
We had something like, let's say, 10 mobile sites before you came on board. And then within the first 6 months, you had doubled it, almost tripled it, the number of sites. And we said, hey, this works. I mean, we'd done everything we could to try and get folks to book a site, but it took someone from the community, being in the community, that knew some of these people to actually talk to them. So you didn't know that story?
I mean, I knew that I had a mission, and I was trying to definitely grow the program, but I didn't really remember how, what was already there.
Right. It was great. We were really so pleased. So let's talk a little bit about the Empower Her program. What does that mean exactly?
Well, Empower Her is the program that the Rose has, to support sponsored patients in communities to make sure that their breast health services, that everyone has access to care.
And so when we talk about a sponsored woman, that's our uninsured women.
Yes, ma'am.
And we always say, you're not charity care and you're not indigent. You are sponsored by a grant, a person, a program. So, I think from that point on, we are talking to our uninsured in a way that's a little different. I mean, we all know you could be uninsured at any time and down on your luck or whatever, but that shouldn't stop you from getting a mammogram.
Absolutely. Yeah. Making sure everyone has access to care.
Mm-hmm. So tell me what you do in your day-to-day job.
Well, my day-to-day job is serving as one of the main points of contacts between our mobile partners, we go, all the places that we go to take the coach and try to reach people in different communities, and the rows. We are kind of the face. My team and I were the face, the people that are out. Trying to maintain our partners, but also trying to find new partners and grow the program in our service area.
What qualifies as a partner?
It really can be anyone.
Okay.
There's some requirements, of course, to host a mobile day. We have to make sure that there's adequate space for parking the coach. That's usually the first thing that we're going to look at.
Is that something you do, or does someone from the mobile team go check it out, or is it a mutual thing?
It's a mutual thing. We typically look at it first, and then if there's something that's questionable, like we can't say 100% that the site would work for the coach, then we might ask a driver, their opinion on it, and then occasionally, they'll go out in person and, just to make sure that there's not a barrier. I mean, we have to look at the level of the area. We have to make sure that we have 14-foot height clearance. Some parking lots are pretty small, and our coaches are large. They're big. They can't make sharp turns, and so that's always the first step. Is just making sure before we get way into it that the coach can fit.
And this could be at a clinic, or it could be at an FQHC, a federally qualified health center, or even a physician's office.
Correct.
Right, or a business.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we work with clinics. We work with FQHCs. We work with different corporations, school districts, other nonprofit organizations, community centers. Just about anywhere that can have the adequate space, but also meet our minimum requirement of patients.
What is that?
It's 20. We look to have at least 20 women pre-registered for a mobile day.
Before we continue this episode, I have to let you know about something that is happening throughout this month of July. Our anonymous donor is at it again, and she wants to match your donation up to $100,000. So think about it. $20 is now $40, $100 is now $200, and if you're feeling really generous, $1,000 is now $2,000. Just think about all the women that we could help with your donation and our anonymous donors match. Please go to therose.org. It's easy to make your donation there. And as our donor said, every dollar counts. Now back to the podcast. Why is the pre-registration so important?
Well, of course, we do serve both insured and uninsured. If they have insurance, we've got to get their insurance verified, but prior to their appointment. But then if they're asking for sponsorship, we have to get them qualified for the sponsorship program.
And what are they going to need to do that?
There's a financial assistance application that has to be filled out. They have to provide household proof of income, and they also have to have a doctor's order for the screening.
Talk a little bit about what it means to be screened, because you can't go to a mobile unit if you've already found a lump.
Correct. So on the coach, it is just 3D mammogram screenings. We do not have diagnostic services yet. So a screening is looking for an abnormality. You don't know something's going on. It is to purely look to see if there's something that's out of place that you may not know about yet.
Normally done annually.
Yes, ma'am, every 12 months.
And how old do they have to be?
For annual screenings, you typically start at 40. Well, we hope that you start at 40, but we also highly recommend a baseline mammogram starting at 35.
That is just really important.
Yes, ma'am.
Especially so many young women being diagnosed these days.
So on the coach, we see females 35 and older to be seen on the coach. The Rose, of course, offers young women services and services to men at our diagnostic centers. But in those cases, they would need to have a diagnostic screening.
So how do you know if that lady has a lump or not?
they're going to do a medical history.
Okay.
You know, when we do the online registration or the paper registration, that should be a question that's asked.
And we need them to answer it correctly.
And we need to answer them correctly. And, you know, sometimes we don't find out until they're already on the coach. There are times.
But that happens in the centers, too. You'll have the patient go back. We all think she's there for screening.
And then as soon as she kind of gets with the tech and they start asking them some of their questions, then they might open up a little bit more and, you know, mention something that could possibly be a symptom.
Right. It's just really important that when you have a symptom, that becomes a diagnostic exam, because there's different things we do when we think something's going on.
Correct.
So, yeah, it gets a little tricky, but it is important.
It's important, and, you know, usually at that point, we're not going to be able to do their screening mammogram, but our team will usually take the steps to go ahead and make sure and, you know, help them get their appointment scheduled for the diagnostic screening at one of the centers.
And explains to them what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm a facility, and I'm all gung-ho about having you come out, but I want it in October. What happens then?
Well, unfortunately, October feels really fast. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and everybody wants October and wants us to come out at October. We don't have enough coaches or days in the month.
Wait. How many coaches do we have?
We have 5.
And that's not enough?
It's not enough for October. No, ma'am. No, it's it's an important month. It's when everybody's really thinking about it. But no, we're not able to do all the requests that we get for the month of October.
Aren't we booked out, months or almost a year? Or what?
We book out about a year in advance.
So it's real important if a company or a clinic wants to do this, that they get on our list.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And we have a strong list of past clinics that come back every year, and we keep doing it, yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of long-term partners, that we've gone to for years. And, and that's part of the job, is just maintaining those partnerships, but also growing the program at the same time, making sure we're bringing in new partners and trying to reach as many as we can and figure out where we can fit them all in at.
Right. And funding's real important in all of this.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it really can dictate just how many new people we can go to or how much we can expand. And
definitely makes a difference, of course, on, how many we can serve in each community.
Right.
We kind of, as Jessica always says, we have little buckets, like this bucket will cover this area and this bucket will cover this one. And
how many areas do we have?
We're currently in 45 counties in Southeast Texas.
Wow. You're helping to coordinate an awful lot of that area, not just...
Yes, ma'am. It's not how it started.
No, that's not how it started. Yes.
But now, yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
just doing what I can to help build the program in the entire service area.
When a woman has a mammogram on the mobile, it is the same equipment we have here at the centers.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And it's our same techs. There's no difference, really, when she has her mammogram on the mobile, except for the convenience of it coming to her.
Yes, ma'am. And our coaches are specially designed so that they can carry the same equipment.
Yeah.
Equipment is heavy and they weigh a ton. We actually have to have CDL drivers because of it's not necessarily the length of the coach, it's because of the weight.
Of the
coaches.
Do you know more about coaches now than you ever thought you would?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
What other things do you look for when you're considering a site visit?
Other than parking, being able to meet that minimum requirement, we have to have someone that we call our site facilitator.
Okay.
So that's somebody that's going to be our direct point of contact for the location for the mobile day. They're the person that's responsible for either doing the registration, the pre-registration, getting the paperwork and everything together, or responsible for doing the promotion for an online registration. So those are the people that we work directly with and kind of pinpointing who it is. We get all kinds of inquiries, to go to health fairs. And to be honest, we don't do a tremendous amount of health fairs. not something that we say, no, never, we do some. But once people realize that there's a pre-registration and that we have to get it done in advance, it's not just pull the coach and anybody can have a screening that wants one that day.
No. We learned a long time ago the community screenings where you just go and set up and hope the community will come in. It's just not a good system.
No, it's not. And, to do something like that, everybody would have to show up with everything that they need. And that's just not going to happen. We have to get it all done in advance. There's a lot of behind the scenes work within the rows, but also that our sites do to make a mobile day happen.
And most of the facilitators are working with these women already, right? I mean, they're either their clients or their patients or...
Correct. Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
But they are so valuable.
And that's one of the things, who are you trying to target when we talk to them initially? Are you trying to reach the community? Is this for your employees? Is it for your patients? Who are you wanting to reach?
Right. And how do you make sure they know about the number that's required? And I know there's times people no-show, but we still try to keep that 20
20 plus, yes,
plus,
ma'am.
yeah.
When somebody's interested, we give them the basic information, and there's kind of an inquiry form that we'll send them just to help them realize what is needed. Once they fill that out and then come back to us, then we typically will set up a Teams meeting so that we can sit down face-to-face or virtual meeting or an in-person meeting if we can, phone call, something just to talk more in detail about everything. But
well, you're kind of the manager of all this, right?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I knew you. I knew you weren't going to talk about that, but we need you to because almost every part of this mobile program you're touching in some way or another.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm wondering if when you're setting up someone and you know they're not going to make, do we have any options?
We try to step in if we see something's not going quite and, give them ideas on how we can help maybe increase numbers or maybe suggest if it's like a corporation that we're going to and they're only focusing on their employees, can we open it up to their spouse, employee spouses?
Yeah.
And, we'll try to help guide them if they're struggling. Occasionally we'll have to reschedule, move something back just so they have a little bit more time. And then there are times where it just, ends up not panning out.
Right.
But we, do everything we can to help get where it needs to be.
But my gosh, some 10,000 women are screened through this program every year.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah. What other things do we need to know when it comes to that referring physician? It's
a barrier. It is a challenge. Some patients that would be sponsored are uninsured and they don't have a current doctor. And that's a lot of times if we find that out, we'll try to figure out a way to help them, navigate them either to a clinic or there's times where we pull in our mammography to medical home program to help patients obtain an order. And
that's our nurse practitioner who sometimes has gone on the mobile just to do the clinical the breast exam.
Yeah. I did a mobile day. I mean, sometimes we don't know we need it until we need it.
Right.
There was an event we did with the school district one time, and they had been a longtime partner, and then all of a sudden they were like, we really want to do a mobile day for our maintenance and operations department. And I was like, okay, great. It was growth. Let's get it set up. But it was an online registration, and when the ladies started registering, we started to notice that a lot of them were asking for sponsorship. And they didn't have a doctor.
Right.
And so we started reaching out to them to confirm, that they didn't just not enter the information, that they didn't have a doctor. And there was just surprising, there was just more than we expected. And we were able to, call in mammography to medical home, get the nurse practitioner out, and still move forward with the mobile day. And what was really kind of neat about that is not only did they get their screening, but then they're also getting help navigated into a medical home.
Right. And so many of the maintenance folks are on contract. I mean, they're not employed, so It does make it difficult.
Yeah, those are the ones that are special, kind of the ones that you think it's going to go one way, and then as you start working with it, you realize that there's just a different need, and trying to help break that barrier.
Right. So do you often go to community events, just you, to talk about the mobile program?
That is a big portion of the job is, just outreach and education. Sometimes the outreach is more geared toward, we're going to go to this event because we could possibly find some new partners at this event. And then a lot of it is going out and doing education and letting people know that the Rose is here. These are the services that we offer. And, just making sure that everybody knows there's somewhere that they can go.
Right. So do you have another favorite story?
One of my favorites, and I believe that she was on the podcast, is we had a site that we were working with. It was a corporation, and they were struggling to meet the minimum requirement of numbers. And talking to them, and just trying to encourage. The site facilitator herself had not registered for the screening. She wasn't quite at the 40. She was more in that baseline mammogram age, and so she just didn't think she needed to do it yet. But to help put one more on the schedule so we didn't have, we could get to the number, she went ahead and signed up herself. And we ended up diagnosing her with breast cancer.
Yeah, she was on the show.
And it's just, had we not been there,
Right.
She wouldn't have known. She just wouldn't have known that was there. And it was all by mistake that she,
Ooh, that gives me chills.
that she found out that she had, and it was just to kind of meet that minimum.
Oh, my goodness. That's a great story.
Yeah, that's a special one.
So, by the way, the survivor and the woman who signed up and didn't expect to do anything except make the numbers work was Morgan Maraca. And we had her on, and we're going to have in the show notes her episode so that you can go and hear her story. It's not all that simple, but there are steps, and we can certainly take them through them. There is probably nothing we haven't heard or seen.
Yes,
and we can make it work. I think that's the one message I keep hearing. You'll make it work one way or another.
That's it. It's just, and there's sites, sometimes that we'll go to that the parking doesn't work out. So we start looking, where could we go nearby? Where can we fit?
I know a while ago you said something about the different types of people that can book, different types of companies, clinics, community centers, but you also mentioned businesses or ISDs. Give us an example of an ISD that we go to.
So one of the school districts that we work with is Alief ISD. They've been a long-time partner, I believe, for over a decade. And we go multiple times a year throughout the school year, sometimes 3 times a month, to the school. We always set up in the same spot, but it's a way for the teachers. They have their screening during their off period. Throughout the day, most teachers, they'll have their class, and then there'll be like one classroom period where they're off to do that. So at Alief, I know that's how a lot of the teachers will book during their off hour.
So we might be there 3 times a week?
A month.
A month. And we'll go at different times, but we keep going back.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it's not like just one time a year that you could book.
Absolutely. I mean, we do have partners that, are one time. We go once a year. We screen their employees or patients. And then we have partners that we have on a regular schedule that we go to monthly, in some cases three times a month.
Interesting. But our school districts are really a group that we very much love serving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because teachers just don't have enough time for anything.
And that's one of the goals of the mobile program is, just to make it convenient for ladies to have their screening done so that they don't put it off. It's hard to get off work to take a half day or a whole day.
That's a good point, because it's only, 15, 20 minutes, go down to the coach?
Yep. They can have it done in a 15-minute break, and they're done for the year.
And the business or the school district, I mean, they're doing a great benefit for their teachers. How many have we diagnosed through those programs? I mean, their teachers don't have to take off, and they're giving a great employee service.
Absolutely, and that's what the program's all about.
Candice, thank you again for driving all this way. And like we said earlier, you don't work in this center or the other center. You are home based, and you're out in the community, and you are leading the community engagement navigators. Tell us one more thing. In your mind, what is probably the most important thing that you've learned about women and having their mammograms on the mobile?
It has to be that 77% of the ladies that we serve through the mobile program say they would not have had their screening mammogram or delayed their screening mammogram had we not been there.
Oh my gosh, 77%. And that's insured or uninsured? It's
yes,
both?
Both.
Both. Oh my gosh. Well, I think that says it all. When we can get to them, they'll have it done.
Yes, ma'am.
It's all about convenience. Thank you again so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk About Your Breasts. This podcast is produced by Speak Podcasting and brought to you by The Rose. Visit therose.org to learn more about our organization. Subscribe to our podcast, share episodes with friends, and join the conversation on social media using hashtag Let's Talk About Your Breasts. We welcome your feedback and suggestions. Consider supporting The Rose. Your gift can make the difference to a person in need. And remember, self-care is not selfish. It's essential.